All of you know exactly why you're here. I speak for the innocent when I say we would appreciate if you could make the situation a little bit easier and cooperate fully.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about, on God. Can you be so for real right now? Actually, tell us what we're doing.
Yes, I actually agree, despite the abomination of her diction. I would love to be informed of why you gathered us here today.
You are here today for a simple reason. All 4 of you are suspected of murder.
What? How dare you even accuse me of such a thing? That idiot probably slipped on a banana peel and broke his neck on his own.
How'd you even know who we were talking about anyway? That sounds awfully murdery to me.
Bam. Totally caught in 4K. Case closed. We didn't know.
Hey, don't act all high and mighty.
Miss Walker, it is not some outlandish discovery that Mr. Cook here knows who I'm speaking of. The sudden disappearance and subsequent search for Mr. Young has made headlines across the state. Don't get rash with your conclusions. That's my job.
And why are we your suspects? What do we have to do with any of these events?
The 4 of you were at Mr. Young's party 3 days ago, were you not? And witnesses saw you leaving rather suspiciously. So not as little to do with it as you seem to think, Mr. Carter. And I think I'm ready to get to the bottom of it. Time for the first interview. Miss Walker, come with me.
Why me first? I didn't do anything.
If what you say is true, you have nothing to worry about. Follow me into the dining room.
Fine.
Oh, and don't think about leaving. There are officers around the perimeter to ensure your cooperation. If you want this done quickly, I suggest you answer honestly. First off, what were you doing at the party on the 20th?
Same thing I do every day, hon. I was cooking.
Mr. Young hired me for a job. See, I own a business and he wanted fresh gourmet food for his party. I often do party orders and make very fancy dishes. You might have seen some headlines about my cooking in the paper, actually. I get lots of attention for my cooking. Well, he placed his order, surprisingly consisted of rather basic food, and I came to the party a little early to get started cooking with a small group of my employees. We had been cooking the whole party when I made Mr. Young the meal he ordered further along in the night. I prepared the meal for him and set it out on a tray for one of the waiters to take to him. I got one of my employees to fetch a waiter, and that's all. I am an innocent woman.
Strange that you failed to mention the fact that you informed your employees it was break time before you prepared the meal for Mr. Young.
Well, I must have just forgotten that part of the story. Does it really matter that much, hon?
It may not, unless you did something to the meal when you were alone.
Well, I would never. It was a busy party with a lot of work to be doing. I was just giving them a break. Nothing fishy about that.
If you say so, Miss Walker, I have what I need. Please bring in Mr. Carter.
Sweetheart, I haven't the slightest clue who that is.
The pretentious one.
Oh, yes. Good luck finding the real murderer.
Thank you for joining me, Mr. Carter. Where were you when the fire broke out?
There was a fire.
Yes, there was a fire. Haven't you seen it on the news?
I try to avoid the news. I find it tampers with my mental and emotional psyche, which really inhibits the creative process.
Okay, well, you attended the party. How did you not know about the fire? Did you leave early? Multiple witnesses suggest you did.
I attended the party for my amusement, but yes, I left early.
Why?
The energy at the gathering was one that was quite, suffocating and draining, so I retired to my own estate to rekindle my being.
Well, you're clearly on some drugs.
Well, I like to think of drugs as more of a pathway into your...
Yes, you can stop there. Please just recount to me everything that happened that night. Don't leave anything out.
Sure. I arrived at the establishment fashionably late, as you must at any large gathering. As soon as I stepped onto the premises, I was hit with a wave of artistic inspiration. I immediately ran out to my vehicle, where I had extra supplies for my day spent tapping into my genius at my studio. It was only fitting that my genius could not subside even for the party. It comes too naturally. Thomas would know nothing about natural talent. All of his art is mediocre at best. I set up a small studio in a side room I found, and began the construction of what I knew to be a masterpiece. I eventually attracted a small audience. As I was adding each swipe and stroke of my canvas, I realized I left some supplies in my vehicle. I made only 1 or 2 trips back. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish my piece because the live audience was too rowdy, so I left early. And that's the conclusion of my night. Does that suffice?
Soon, just a few more moments. Did anyone ever see you resupplying materials?
Not to my knowledge.
Is it possible, Scott, that you made any stops on the way to get more materials? Seems like a pretty convenient time to commit a crime. especially considering no one would see you.
I did not.
Not much of an alibi.
I can assure you, friend, that if you ask any of the various individuals viewing my painting, I always return in a timely manner with the needed materials. I have witnesses, okay?
Of course. You've done your part now. You're free to leave, and please bring in Mr. Cook. Guess I'll do it myself.
Yo, man, you ready yet?
Well, I was hoping to interview Mr. Cook.
Oh, my bad, bro. I'll dip.
Oh, there's no need to dip. While I was expecting Mr. Cook, it seems Mr. Carter didn't catch my request. You're lucky I prepared beforehand.
Alright then. Lucky me. You know, this whole situation really gives me the ick.
The ick?
You don't even know what that means? Bro, you're so mid.
Moving on then, what were you doing before and after the fire?
Oh, I am coming in clutch with this one actually. You see, I've got this whole video right here I was gonna make for the party. I'm in my authentic era.
Oh, that's very helpful. I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's watch it through then.
Welcome back to Enchanted Lemon. Although we're a smaller group now, I'm still going to be uploading every day, and I'm here at Thomas Young's party.
And then I was like, oh my
This guy
God.
really knows how to party. Like, look at all these fancy decorations. Classical music is not really my thing, but I have to say, this song slaps. You know, listen to this song.
Hey!
This was so skibbity, oh my god. Everyone here's dressed so Gucci, like these outfits are fire, you know. Alright, let's get away from these NPCs. Yo, is there something wrong here? Oh shit, it's on fire. Damn, man, this place was cool. This is not the vibe anymore, so you know, I'm getting out of here.
I wouldn't say you totally cooked with that. I still have a few questions. Why do I have reports of someone of your description at the party at 6:30 when your video only starts at 8? Why weren't you recording then?
I don't record everything, bro. Like, on camera, I might act like the main character, but like, in reality, I'm just a gal.
Well, this, combined with your lackluster reaction to the sudden burst of flames compared to the other guests, is reason enough not to clear your name so soon. And that's perfectly valid.
To be valid, you trying to use valid, it's gonna live rent-free in my head forever, and not in the good way. You know, for my lackluster reaction, I think I'm just not a very animated gal.
That's all I need from you. Would you please fetch Mr. Cook?
Yeah, alright, bro. Whatever. Man, I should have taken theater in high school. Hey, Cook. The uptight lady wants you.
Yeah, thanks. Before you start with any of your questions, you should know that you definitely have the wrong person. I am actually Taylor Cook, CEO of the wildly influential company known as Renovate.
I know who you are, and I can assure you we have the right person. I also know you have a side hustle as a waiter. Sit. Now, tell me what you were doing tonight. Don't spare a single detail.
I was a waiter for the party. I was really stressed out after some failed business deal that happened. Thomas had servers and cooks, and I was one of the servers. Honestly, I was surprised he had hired me at all. Felt like a kick in the face.
I'd been walking around with platters, serving people all night. One of the cooks came to inform me that I needed to take Thomas's food to him, so I went and gathered his food. He had ordered chicken tenders, and went upstairs to bring it to him. I left the food on the table in his room, which was where the cook from earlier said Thomas wanted it. And then I left.
Your story appears plausible, except a guest noticed you slip into a side room with a platter of food before entering the bedroom. Would you care to comment on this?
I assure you I was serving as normal. I was simply searching around to try and find where he was. Listen, Miss...
Detective Ashley Robinson.
Ashley, you know, being the CEO of a corporation as large as Renovatrix, a lot of people have a lot to gain from seeing me fall. You know, people would even falsely accuse me of crimes to get that done. Maybe you could double check your witnesses. I would really appreciate that.
Do not talk down to me, Mr. Cook. I can assure you that I have done my due diligence when it comes to reliability. Do not forget who is the trained detective here.
Right. So, Ashley, maybe we could come to a deal? I'm a very rich man, you know. I could even have you in my office by tomorrow if you could figure out something that could...
I will not be meeting you anywhere. I'm not one to be bribed, Mr. Cook. I think it's time you head back to the living room. I will be there shortly.
You sure, Ashley? You can get
Leave.
You know, you're missing out on a really good opportunity here. You have no idea how much an offer like mine could benefit somebody. I'm so glad I got away from you people, even if it was just for a little while. Hey, there she is. I thought someone killed you or something.
Ha, very amusing. I apologize for being late. I was looking for something in another room.
Well, get on with it. Who killed Mr. Young?
Suspense is killing me, bro.
I would appreciate the verdict as well to clear my consistently spotless reputation so I can leave this place. I have better things to be doing, masterpieces to create.
TBH, dude, I don't think anyone really cares what you're making. Your stuff is kind of mid.
Hey, someone finally said something I agree with. I second your statement.
Well, now that's a little bit rude, don't you think? I think we should all let this kind man do whatever it is he pleases, even if it is of no practical use.
I will have you know that.
Shut it! Thank you. If you would have all let me speak for one moment, you would have known the outcome by now. The answer to our mysterious question is simple. The one responsible for Mr. Thomas Young's death is all of you.
What?
You are not making any sense.
Oh god, she's lost it.
I am perfectly sane, thank you. None of you have a believable alibi. You didn't tell me the full story of what happened that night. I have reason to suspect that you were up to something not good, and I think you are working together to kill Mr. Young.
Are you insane? I never knew any of these losers before tonight. We were all at the same party by coincidence, dude.
I would agree. If I was devising a plan to commit murder with a team, these are the last individuals I would have picked to execute the job.
Thank you.
Well, you don't have to be so rude about it.
And that's what would have made it the perfect group.
Well, Snobby over here could have been nicer, I kind of agree. I can hardly stand being in the same room as these people, let alone trying to devise a murder with them. Besides, what are even our reasons for trying to kill Thomas?
Oh, really? You have no motives. Catherine here runs a catering business, or rather prestigious one at that. She's used to big money and praise for the extravagant dishes she cooks up. But Mr. Young purposely chose the cheapest thing he could to serve at his event. Therefore, she got no praise for cooking for one of the most influential people in town.
How could I be okay with him stealing from me the recognition I deserve?
And Scott acted out of jealousy.
He put 5 green splotches on a canvas. Anyone with a brain could see it barely qualifies as a child's drawing, much less professional art.
Mr. Cook has a similar story. He tried to negotiate a deal with Mr. Young to be business partners, but when Mr. Young brutally declined him and then opened a new section of his business which stole Mr. Cook's customer base. Then Mr. Young hired Mr. Cook to work at his party as a not-so-humble brag. As you can imagine, Mr. Cook was quite upset.
Now, Ashley, if you could recall our conversation from earlier, I would be more than happy to organize a deal with you.
Mr. Cook, as I said before, I am not remotely interested in being bought out. As I was saying, leave.
What, me? You saw the vlog, man. It was straight facts. I didn't do anything. You accusing me right now is so out of pocket.
Okay, so I'm talking. I'd prefer it if you would stay silent and not interrupt me.
You seem to interrupt me just fine.
Your YouTube channel, Enchanted Lemons, has been declining in popularity recently. To solve this problem, you need new content. And what better way to draw attention back to your channel than be the first person to discover a dead body? More so, the dead body of a very wealthy man.
Okay, so I may not have cooked as much as I thought. Maybe I had a lapse in judgment or two, but you do not need to be so rude about it.
It's not rude if I'm revealing the truth.
Yes, it is. You need to stop being so stuck up. We might be suspects in a murder case, but we still deserve your respect. You need to stop acting like such a little
You can stop right there. You'll all be taken into police custody shortly. Hello? This is she? Yes, the case of Thomas Young. And you found the body. Okay. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? And the wound is still visible? You've done the autopsy. No, but it doesn't... You can't. Yes, I know. But there's all the evidence to show that... Yes, ma'am, I understand, but I can't throw out the case now. Yes, ma'am, I understand. Goodbye.
Well, what did they say?
Yeah, who even was that?
Are we going to prison?
You all are extremely lucky. I got a call from the head of my department. They found Mr. Young. He was dead on site. And not only that, he killed himself.
Huh?
Not intentionally, from what we can tell. What I believe to have happened is this.
The party started and all of you arrived. Catherine first, Taylor second, Lee third, and Scott last. While Catherine was preparing Mr. Young's food, she poisoned it. Coincidentally, Taylor poisoned the water before bringing it to Mr. Young. I went to check his room and found the plate of food in the garbage. Mr. Young must not have wanted it and thrown it out. Scott entered the room and found Mr. Young on the balcony. He shoved Mr. Young off. Unfortunately for Scott, he survived the fall, not without injuries. This was discovered during the biopsy. While this was happening, Lee was looking around the premises to find Mr. Young. Unbeknownst to her, he was outside. On his exit from the room, Scott accidentally knocked over a candle in his hurry to get away from the scene. The room shortly thereafter caught on fire. This is what I saw on Lee's footage. Mr. Young must have seen that his room was ablaze and wanted to leave the premises, even in his less than ideal condition. He had a few broken bones from the fall, including a broken leg. He successfully made it to a small creek on his property. Because of his broken leg, when he tried to jump to safety, he failed. He knocked his head on some sharp rocks and fell unconscious. He drowned face down in the river.
I guess that was right. I called it from the beginning. None of us did anything wrong, and you just wasted all of our precious time.
So we're home free now? Bet.
I can't believe that this happened. All of you are astronomically lucky that my boss is incompetent and failed to listen to me. All of you deserve to be rotting in jail.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm here with this angry detective who's totally convinced I murdered someone and got so salty when I proved her wrong.
You are not the one who proved me wrong. That was the biopsy. And you still attempted murder anyway, so get this camera out of my face.
Actually, you can't prove we attempted anything. Conjecture isn't evidence, darling.
This is Taylor Cook. He's this totally go-to businessman.
I will have you know that if I am held accountable in any way for the actions here, I will be pressing charges. And believe me, I know my way around the courtroom.
All of you, leave. I don't want to hear another word out of your mouth, Taylor.
That's Mr. Cook to you.
Damn, it's so heated in here for real, bro.
And why are you still here? Do you want to continue rubbing your freedom in my face? I kind of feel bad for you, hon. But not that mad. It's not like I committed a murder. You may leave whenever you like. It's not like you're going to be arrested or anything.
Well, in that case, I'll be seeing you. Oh, and I'm the one that called and reported him missing, by the way, in case you were wondering.
Why would you report your own crime?
Well, if I had poisoned him, and I'm not saying I did, but it would be the perfect cover-up. And it kind of was, wasn't it?
Man, she's smart. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe for more murder content.
I said, would you get that camera out of my face?
Okay, Karen.
Leave! Leave!
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show. I'm Jack the Horse, but don't act like you don't know. And I'm trying to hold on to my life.